Hello, mic test. Can you guys hear me? My goodness, I'm so nervous. As you can see, we got delayed a little bit further due to several technical difficulties. Hello, everyone. All right, so I guess we're live. We can get the show started. So, I guess my goodness, I can't help but giggle. It's sort of a nervous tick to me. So, can't see my face yet, can you? Hold on. I wanted to do a bit of a dramatic reveal, but well, judging by how my connection is, it won't be that dramatic. So here I am. Nice to meet everybody. So, without further ado, good evening, everyone. My name is Coniglia. I'm known as the the caster. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it's nice to finally meet all of you. Yes, Mama Coney's home. So, thank you for the warm reception, everyone. I actually had a lot more planned for this initially, but due to the fact that I had to attend to those supposed to be the opening video, will probably be saved for a future upload. And my connection's unstable. Well, I guess streaming between two different worlds is kind of a bit of a, it's hard. The internet connection here is kind of slow, but I'm also kind of hard headed, so I'm pushing for it. So, without further ado, I have a kind of a rushed PowerPoint presentation set up to introduce myself to everyone here. Let me just move down here to the corner for a little bit. Over here. Is that good? You guys can hear me, right? Start. But yeah. Oh my goodness. So, is it showing up? Kind of taking its time to load. And we're lagging. I'm so sorry. It seems to show up for me here. Are you guys seeing the PowerPoint just fine? I have my logo there and everything. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, I wish I could say hi to you all like individually, but at the moment I'm kind of overwhelmed. So, hello to all 6 of you watching right now. Um, I, I guess I'm about to start my presentation. It's a debut, but it's more of a PowerPoint presentation, so we're all just gonna have to deal with that. I'm sorry. If I had a better connection, I would have something fancier prepared. But it's just my debut. I'm just a small first time VTuber. So I think it should be expected that my very first stream over here doesn't go very smoothly. But it's nice to have all of you here with me today. So, um, hold on a moment. My poor old laptop's kind of having a hard time keeping up with us. It's fine. Stay strong. We got this. So, about me. I know it's a very it's not the best PowerPoint. I rushed it kind of at the last minute, Hello, Coconut. GHK, yeah, my lord. Oh, if I go through everyone, it's going to take too much time, but I'll try my best to read the comments as we go along. Yeah, so here. I apologize also if I can't read your comments right away. I only have one screen, and right now it's being used for the presentation. So, about me. As I stated at the start, my name is Coniglia. I am known as the Fallen Star spellcaster, simply the Fallen Star. Um, some people even kind of merge it all together, so Cornelia Fallen Star, but that's not my actual name. It's just the title. When I was much younger, it was actually the Shooting Star, but well, you know, things happen. Things happen. You guys calling me queen, that's a bit much. That's a bit much. The nickname I usually go by is Coney, but seeing the name of my channel, I it's kind of embarrassing to say it out loud now. It was a nice thought, but I was thinking it'd be kind of nice if some of you guys can call me mama sometime. Oh, that's so embarrassing. I'm so half of this stream is just going to be me laughing with my eyes closed. But yeah, Coney, you can call me Mama if you like. If it isn't too embarrassing for either of us, we'll get used to it. Or you could just call me Coney. It's fine. Oh, thanks, Barrels. It's all right. Simply seeing and hearing Mama Coney makes my heart feel warm. Ew. Anyway, I'm getting a bit sidetracked. So, um, my age is a secret. It's rude to ask people this. Though I'm sure some people are fine with disclosing their ages. Me personally, mm, it's nice to keep some things secret about ourselves, I guess. Yeah, especially since it's our first time meeting. Oh my goodness. Mother Coney. You make me sound like I'm a nun or something. I'm not sure I would consider that career path. So, my occupation currently, I'm just freelancing, doing some magic stuff here, some art stuff there, um, cooking and baking things for people when they aren't in the mood for that sort of thing. You know, rolls, little tiny rolls that they'll need to have filled up sometimes. I'm also a seer of worlds. A little more on that later on in the presentation. It it has its own slide. Isn't that impressive? Oh my goodness. Anyway, as mentioned before, my skills, well, I didn't mention it as part of my skills, but my skills include housework and simple charms, which are basically the things that I do while I freelance. Uh, a girl's got to make some spare change. Well, not spare change. A living. Kind of hard these days, but if it earns you cash, then I suppose you're gonna have to do it. Uh, food master. Uh, so yeah, I I'm quite skilled in housework, things such as cooking, baking, washing the dishes, if that counts as a skill. I do enjoy cleaning and organizing, though I'm sure most people can relate that. In that, even if you like seeing things tidy, there are just some days where you can't really get things in order, and today is one of those days. My table is a mess. Um, my headspace is kind of in a mess too. I'm a little lost for words, kind of scrambling around for loose vocabulary in my head. But we'll get through those things. I'm getting sidetracked again. That tends to happen a lot. So I apologize. Seeing as you guys are watching me here right now, I'm eternally grateful that you can deal with me going off topic a little. The simple charms over here, it's kind of a magic inclined thing. We do have magic over here. Um, there's a certain system to it, which I guess I'll end up explaining when I get to the seer stuff. Let's see. My hobby is I also enjoy the cooking and the baking. It's fun. It's very therapeutic, and I also just as much or maybe more than I enjoy the process of cooking and baking. Um, I also like seeing it when people enjoy the food I make, which I think comes naturally when you work with food often. Oh, I'm a nervous wreck, aren't I? Um, I also enjoy art, writing, and handicrafts. Um, the creation aspect of things, it's very intriguing to me. I enjoy it a lot, especially when you start out with simple ingredients, simple materials. You kind of bring out the best in them. It, in a way, I suppose it's kind of like that with people too. I think explaining that is going to lead me way too far off on a tangent. Oh, I was asking, what's your favorite dish to cook, Mom? Um, well, I've been enjoying baking bread, which is kind of tedious in that you have to knead a lot, but I feel like it's gonna help me develop better pecs or something. It's nice. With breads, you start off with just flour, yeast, water, and salt. Those four ingredients, you just give it a little bit of time, a little bit of loving, and you get something really tasty from it. uh, Generally, things do turn out nice, even if you start out real simple, as long as you put in the effort, I think. Um, so, yeah. Bread stream, we'll see, Barrels. The issue I have currently is, as much as I would like to do cooking streams, it means I'll have to set up an entire camera rig in the kitchen. And the kitchen's a mess right now. The kitchen's a mess, and my equipment isn't very good. as, as you can see with the lag here, I don't have the best resources to work with right now. We'll punch the ISP and force them to give you the good stuff. Uh, please don't be mean to the ISP. I think if you injure anyone, injure anyone involved in the process, it would only make things worse. I don't think they have control over it. Anyway, back. Uh, Wait one moment. I so yes, I went over everything in the hobbies besides playing games, but I also have a little segment devoted to the kinds of games I like, so we can just skim over that for now. Collections. I actually don't know what crossed my mind when I was putting this in here. I just thought, oh, maybe they'd like to know the kinds of things that I would like. I enjoy collecting. I've already gotten started with a bunch of them. So I like rabbit memorabilia. Currently, I have this ceramic rabbit that I bought from a closing sale from a restaurant. It's cute. It's like stoneware and kind of holds on to the edge of a shelf. It's in the pantry right now, looking after the floor. I still don't have a name for it, so maybe one of these days I'll post a picture up and you guys decide. um, I also have a lot of stuffed animals that are rabbits. It's nice. It's nice collecting stuffed animals. I'd put that in there as well, but I think I am far enough into collecting that I don't really need that many more. Let's see. Oh, music boxes. Yeah. Um, I like the sound of them. I think that's enough reason to collect them. But I've also been around quite a few music boxes growing up, and I guess that adds to the sentimental value of it to me. So I have one of those jewelry boxes with a music box built into it. Um, I have a music box in a glass case. That's actually something that my parents got way before I was born, and it's a cherished item. I think it's what started the collection for me. I have this Snoopy music box. It's a stuffed toy, but when you wind up the music box, Snoopy's head kind of like turns a little bit. Oh, I love it so much. And lately I've been eyeing those little music boxes, the simple looking ones. They make them for games a lot. They're just plain white and they have the game logo on top. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the collections I'm working on currently. And also children's books. I love children's books a lot. Um, when I was younger, I was quite interested in sort of the darker sides to children's stories, since a lot of them kind of get more morbid than you want. But in general, I just like the way they're structured in a sense. Um, it's kind of kind of hard to describe it, but they're written in a certain way that I feel like even as an adult, you can kind of learn from them a little more. One of my all-time favorites is The Little Prince, and I've noticed from reading it several times growing up that I kind of get a deeper understanding of what what kinds of lessons the story has in a way. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Thanks, Al. Yeah, I I actually wouldn't know what would count as good taste for books, but I'm glad that you agree with me and that it's a good book. Maybe I'll read it on stream sometime, or since my connection isn't really the best, I'll just pre-record it. Maybe re-illustrate it a little. I don't know if I can do that yet. Um, maybe we'll start with stuff that's already in the public domain. I think Hans Christian Andersen's works are in the public domain, but we'll look into that. Oh my goodness, that's just the first slide, and I've talked this much already. Hold on. So, the aforementioned gaming segment, a gaming segment from someone who isn't particularly good at games. Uh, but the kinds I'm interested in are mostly visual novels, simulation games, puzzle games, and JRPGs. I'm sure there are other ones there that I'm willing to give a try, but most of what I've played kind of fall under those genres. Um, yeah. Usually, what I like in games would be the story. I suppose I like games that are very story and character driven above most things. So I if I like a story and I like the characters enough, Even if I really suck at the game, I'm just gonna keep pushing myself to try to finish it. Maybe one of these days when I get a better connection, you guys can watch me struggle a little bit. Um, Games that I enjoy are Ace Attorney, Professor Layton, Hatful Boyfriend. Um, don't underestimate the bird dating sim. It has some of my favorite bits of character writing, like of all time. I think if there was any single Otome game that I would recommend to anyone, it would be Hatful Boyfriend. I can't I can't really explain why without reaching spoiler territory, but I just really want to say that the characters are what make it for me. Like Moahato is just amazing. You should look at their Twitter too. They still actively make works, mostly art. You might see their hand drawing references a lot. I see them in circulation. Um, let's see. I also enjoy Hakuoki. Um, that's that's really heavy on the story, though. I wouldn't suggest Hakuoki to anyone unless they're the visual novel side of a dating sim. Actually, it's more visual novel than dating sim. Um, the story goes so long that the recent, well, not too recent, it's a few years ago, but there was a reboot of the game with extra story and extra characters, and they had to split it into two games. I haven't heard of games being split into more than one part since like the PS1 era. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh my goodness. Oh, don't get started. I suck at Yu-Gi-Oh! I suck, but it's fun to play. I think you would know that I am not that young by how I play because I can't even figure out synchro summoning. Okay, that's it. Oh my gosh. Let's not talk too much about that. Well, that deserves a stream of its own, I believe. Maybe I'll re-download Dual Links. So yeah, I also oh, it gets its own line. Besides the others, I can't think of at the moment. There's Grand Blue Fantasy, aka for me the epitome of me playing a game for the story and the characters. Because because to be fair, um, not to be fair, to be honest, this is a confession. This is my debut stream, and I'm making a confession. I've been playing GPF for a few years. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, I think this is a terrible thing to admit, but when you, um, there's something called a grid system where you have multiple weapons that you have to equip. It's a 9 by 9 grid. That's why it's called a weapons grid. But you have to make sure that the stats of them and their abilities work to your advantage. And people work really hard on building their grids. I auto select them. Oh my goodness, I've been playing for at least 3 years at this point, and I auto select. But I'm still alive. I managed to get kind of a slightly harder to get character that you have to grind for. That's the strength queen. I feel that with Genshin. You don't want to see my Genshin. Like, I'll probably have to make a new one, start from the beginning again if I ever decide to play Genshin here. Because, oh, I have committed great sins in video gaming. But that's something you guys are just gonna have to see for yourself. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. This topic is a black hole. I will go on about it for much longer than I would want to. So let's save all of you the trouble in dealing with that. My favorite food. Um, Earlier, I think one of you guys asked me what was my favorite food to cook lately, and now this is my favorite food to eat and slow cooked stews, preferably also with mushrooms. They're delicious and also very interesting, like specimens in general. You know how you can't really kill them in a way that matters because they're just sort of the fruiting bodies of an entirely different organism, something like that. They're very interesting and they're also very tasty, unless they're the kinds that kill you. Please excuse me. Um, as for my favorite drink, I am very much a tea person. I actually also do enjoy coffee, but I find myself reaching for tea more often than not. Coffee's good in the mornings, but in general, I enjoy royal milk tea. Um, I can't remember what kind of black tea exactly that was that goes into it, but there's a particular kind of black tea that gives it a certain taste I like. um, let's see. I also enjoy chamomile tea, which is very good at calming the nerves, I believe. I always wanted to try something like a chamomile lavender blend because I really like the smell of lavenders. I think it'd be very calming, but if I took something like that right now, I would probably pass out. Is there such a thing as mushroom tea for the best of both worlds? I actually think there might be. Um, I haven't quite looked into it because I don't really use that many kinds of mushrooms since I don't have that many available. But there are mushrooms used for Chinese medicinal practices, and from what I hear, their their flavor is a bit more on the herbal side. So I suppose that would go well in tea. That's something I could look into. Uh, I also enjoyed honeyed lemon juice. Actually, what I do with that is I take the lemon slices and preserve them in a jar of honey, and it's really tasty actually. Um, you can actually use it as tea if you put it in hot water, or you could take it directly from the jar as is with a spoon. Usually that'd be kind of a naughty thing to do to eat directly from the jar, but in a way, honeyed lemon slices are kind of good with dealing with sore throats and other things that kind of keep your throat not feeling so up to it. Uh, let's see. I also enjoy milk. That's oh my goodness. At this age, just plain milk. That's kind of childish for me. Well, I wouldn't say it's childish, but I don't think it's very often that you'd find people kind of in my age range who like just plain milk. It's honeyed milk is also really good. It's especially if you have it warm. Just take some milk, just take a spoonful of honey, mix it together, and it's just comfort in a cup right there. It isn't the kind of well, as long as you're using actual honey and not honey flavored syrup, it's not a very saturating sweetness. It's just very mild, especially if you use like certain kinds of honey, like You know how they're kind of classified depending on what kinds of areas the bees are in. So if they have access to clover, it's usually clover honey and such. You kind of get a better feel of the additional flavors of those honeys in honey. Drop that honey lemon juice recipe, mama. I will. It's one of the easier things to make, so I think I can do that soon. How do you warm your milk? I'm going to be really honest with you guys. In the past, I just put it in a mug and microwave it. But it kind of feels nice when you can actually boil it, like over a fire, over a stove, something like that. Just take a saucepan, pour your milk in, and heat it up. And I don't know, it's something about the fact that you can feel the warmth wafting from it, like that slight bit of liquid evaporation from the hot pan. It's kind of calming too. Um, okay, these next two, these next two are like proof that I wasn't sure what else to put in here while I was cramming. But what I like in people, that's that's kind of a strange thing because what's really nice, I think, about other people is the individuality of a person. Oh my goodness, that sounds kind of weird. It's also going to sound a little weird as I expand on that. I apologize, but it's kind of like with characters, you know. It's comparing real people to fictional characters is not something I would recommend. But you know, the individuality of people, their quirks, that that kind of stuff makes them really interesting. Though personally, what I like in people, like people who I tend to be drawn to more. I apologize. This is very, very sappy, very. I'm not sure what the word would be for this, but just something you would generally expect, I suppose. But, you know, kind heart, patience, and deep passion. I'll explain that last one a little bit after this, but generally, I like it when people are considerate, I suppose. It's hard to define a kind heart. I feel like it's something that you don't really get to notice unless you know a person for long enough. And I guess it's really that way when you get closer to people, you find out the people you jive with a little bit more when you spend more time with them. Um, for the patience bit, oh, that your mileage would vary with that for sure. There are people who are more patient with other people than others. There are people who don't have much patience left. And in truth, I do know a lot of people who I actually do appreciate who don't have much patience to them. But they have their reasons. Again, I'm questioning why I added this here because it's very difficult to gauge people. Though the deep passion part is something that I personally really like seeing, and I think it's inherent in most people. Like, I think it's kind of worded kind of strangely here, but what I mean here by deep passion is, you know, what I like in other people is hearing about things that I don't particularly care if it's something that they're wholeheartedly devoted to, some even if it's like a life aspiration or whatever. It doesn't have to be deep. Um, the kind of I say it doesn't have to be deep when I the kinds of things people like. Whether it's some romantic dream you have for the future, if it's some advocacy you have, or even if it's just something you're really interested in at the moment. Say there's a particular character you're into, a ship that you really like. Um, I suppose if there's something that you've been enjoying a lot lately, I love hearing that from people. That's the enthusiasm in it, I think. It's just such a warm energy that I like to pick up. Um, like, um, personally, as you notice, I tend to ramble quite a bit and go quite off tangent, but there are some people who have dealt with that ever so wonderfully. And I appreciate it a lot when they say, like, I found myself quite apologetic about that sort of thing in the past. To this day, I kind of still, but I really appreciate it as well when people take the time to listen to me when I talk about the things I like. And I just kind of want to let people know that I also like hearing all about the things they like. Whether I get it or not, just feel free to tell me about anything. I'll listen. I'll listen to anything, really. It's nice. Um, Even one-sided conversations are kind of great, as long as you know that the side that's listening is listening intently. So I guess just know that I am someone willing to listen intently to whatever you want to talk about. That got a little deep. So something a little bit more shallow is what I like about myself. This one. See, I thought about it the last minute, but I pondered over it a lot longer than the other things I filled up here. Um, well, we all go through some stuff. We aren't all very appreciative of ourselves. So I kind of look back a little. And, there's just something about looking back to when you were younger and more enthusiastic about things, more gung ho. Like, the world is yours to explore, that kind of point of your life. I just like looking back at that and seeing just how much my eyes used to sparkle. uh, okay, I thought that was going to be a little shallow, but it got a little deep too, didn't it? I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry, this is only the third slide, but this is the last about me slide, don't worry. This point we have bullet points. So, more about me. I currently live in my hometown, in another world actually. This world's called Passagi. Um, it's something called a bridge between worlds. That's something I'm gonna have to explain. I think I could explain it a little later on, but I'll just go with it now. ah, so my world's called Passagi. It's a bridge between worlds. Let's say there is a large group of worlds, a whole cluster of them. Um, and they're all kind of loosely connected to each other. So, oh, this would do so well if I had an infographic for it or something. But they're all interconnected. And Pasagi's kind of connected to them as well. But the world that you guys are in right now, Gaia, real original, I know. I'm not the one coming up with these names, but see, Gaia is kind of a distant world from several others. In terms of connections, the only known connection that I and some other people are aware of is Versace. So I kind of have the freedom to go back and forth between my world and your world, which is actually somewhere I spent quite a lot of time in as well. See, I was born over here, but I grew up there. So I am not entirely clueless about, since I just moved home recently, I am fairly up to date with things, though I am a little slow on things like memes and trends and stuff. So please do excuse me if I don't immediately understand them. And there's a typo right over there. That's it. That's how you know this is crammed. uh, I'm still in the process of moving my belongings, so some of them are kind of still there in Gaia. I might drop by again soon. Soon being in the next few months or so. But yeah, um, let's see. So yeah, I moved back home recently. Traveling was difficult because there I had to travel to a certain point of Gaia, and then I had to travel from that point to my world, and then the point there to my hometown. It's it's troublesome. There are lots of documents you have to process. It's not a very easy thing to do, but it's very much worth it in my opinion, even with the laggy internet. But don't worry, um, we'll have a better connection set up soon. I hope. Um, Probably tomorrow. I heard they were gonna set it up tomorrow, so let's hope for the best. So yeah, it's it's a tough process, like many things, but just trust in the process. Next thing you know, it's all over and done with, and when you look back at how tedious everything was, it doesn't really seem to like be as tough as you thought, or it might still be as tough, but you got it over and done with, and that's what matters. Ah, and the stars out here, yeah, the skies here are very, very clear. Back where I stayed there in Gaia, it was the city, so I never actually got to see the sky very well. Um, I did miss the stars a lot, so seeing them in such a wide sky out here, it's just very comforting. So we're done with the about me. I Let me tell you about the Seers of the world, something I have skimmed over. Skimmed over several times in previous slides. But yes, I am a seer of worlds, and so far I am the only one I'm aware of in my world, which would be very impressive if it wasn't so sad and lonely, I suppose. And with that, if you're kind of like alone in that sort of thing, sometimes people don't really believe you, you know? It's kind of something that's hard to grasp. But enough of that serious stuff. Well, I'm saying it as a serious stuff isn't very serious, but let's lighten things up a little. See, it's not very depressing because it's such a wide universe out there. There's so many worlds, there's so many stories to tell. It's just so interesting. So as I mentioned before, the worlds out there are loosely connected to each other. Some people are even capable of like traveling between them. I'm not sure how the process goes because personally, I've only been between Passagi and Gaia. Though I suppose that's impressive in its own way, as people who aren't from Passagi usually don't make it all the way there to Gaia. Anyway, back to the topic. Um, so yeah, the worlds are very loosely connected to each other, and it's very interesting because each one of them kind of operates on its own set of rules. Some worlds practice magic, some others don't. As I also mentioned earlier, I do in fact practice magic, but the magic system here in Passagi is quite strange because I'm not sure how distance works exactly between worlds, but the worlds that are closest here, we have Gaia, which is your world, where there does seem to be magic there, but the concentration of it isn't quite as strong as other places. And then the next world, which is the second closest but still quite far away, is this place called Phantasme, which is just one of the oldest, most magic abundant places that I have ever seen or been aware of. So, with that sort of conflict we have going on from both ends, um, it kind of cancels things out. Like, Passagi is a very passive force in a sense. It deals with a lot of magic and otherworldly forces kind of like reaching into it, but all of that is just so powerful that it negates everything else. So it's actually not quite as magical as you'd think. Just a couple of notches above how it's like in Gaia. Uh, um so yeah, that was a tangent, wasn't it? Um so magic aside, there are the seers who are gifted with the ability to look into other worlds. That's something that I do, and several other worlds that I've peered into. I have seen the other seers there. I I'm amazed by just how powerful they are, honestly. We have people there who are revered as gods in other worlds because of how powerful they are. We have people who have those abilities to jump from world to world. Um, and some places you kind of have a stronger concentration of seers. So it's kind of neat seeing multiple seers collaborate together. There's even this grand library in one of the worlds where multiple seers work as librarians, so they really have written records of other worlds. It's just so impressive. I wish I could see it for myself, but best I can do is peek into it every now and then. Uh, as it says here, I can see other worlds, but only to a certain extent. It's kind of a range of sorts. And my range isn't that big. There are so many worlds that I can barely get a read of, and the most depressing thing I think is there are a lot of other seers who can even look into their own worlds, but I can't see anything else that's happening in Passaggi. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm just a plain old seer of worlds. And oh, this last point. The night sky is the key to my abilities. That's another reason why I'm so happy to be home with the clear skies. See, every seer actually has their own preferred method. Well, I'd say preferred, but it's kind of inherent in them. Though I believe it does develop depending on how they are as a person. But yeah, everyone has their own methods of seeing into other worlds. Um, there are those who see them through clear surfaces or specific kinds of surfaces. Uh, I hear there's a seer who actually sees things through a computer screen, so that must be pretty interesting. I haven't I haven't seen them like through my own visions personally yet. I haven't figured out what world they're from. But reflective surfaces. We have seers who open up their own portals, so it's a very fancy, aesthetically pleasing way to peer into other worlds, I believe. Um, there are those who kind of look into other worlds through divination. I'm not particularly sure how that works, but it's the stuff like tea, tea. What's that? Um, I forgot what it's called. When you read tea leaves, some people can do that. There's another seer who uses bird feathers. It's very interesting. And there's even a seer who looks into books. Like, I'm not sure how it works, but they really use it like some sort of an encyclopedia for worlds, and it works. My personal style is gazing at the sky. I I'm not sure how to explain it exactly, but in tracing the stars, I suppose I get these sorts of visions. I space out a little bit. I s- they're scrying, yeah. Anyway, I tend to space out a little bit when I look up at the stars, especially when it's clear night. Um, and in that sort of deep state of thought I have, that's when I start to see other worlds. And the stars kind of serve as a reference point. Um, like, I could look into a certain world, which makes it very troublesome. Very troublesome when I can't see certain stuff. But I think that's the gist of how things work for Sears. Maybe I'll get a little deeper into that. I'd love to talk about the other Seers I've observed. Their methods are very interesting, and their powers are really something else. Meanwhile, I'm here baking bread. Uh, but yes, the next slide isn't loading. Hold on. We're having some technical difficulties, as if we haven't had enough for tonight. Today, it's past midnight. Oh, there we go. It's a picture of me. Yeah. This ties in both with this year's stuff and also my favorite detail, because when I said sparkle in my eyes, I kind of mean it literally. My eyes kind of did this thing before. They really would sparkle, kind of like looking at the stars, kind of like they're reflected there in a sense. They don't do that as much now as they did before, but I hear it usually happens when I look into other worlds. Can't say for sure though, because I can't see my own reflection when I do that. But yeah, um, more details about me. I'm gonna show off my model. This is gonna be a little bit embarrassing. Let's just move this on over. Hold up, a little bit of lag again. Whoop, hold on. Really should invest in another monitor so I don't accidentally open the wrong windows and kind of mix things up. Here we go. It's a model showcase. Um, the art for my model and basically most of the art and graphic work I'm going to be using um, is by Tokimeki, unless otherwise stated. Um, so it's kind of a basic rig. I don't. My sprite doesn't have like alternate expressions or anything, so it's just basic face tracking with head tilts and stuff. Uh, hmm, and eye tracking with a little bit of physics. This is actually a full body model too. Um, hold on. Whoop. You can see my feet now, I think. Hold on. No, you can't. I'm sorry. Let me just try this again. Very small, I'm sorry. There we go. That's my full model. You can see my hands and my feet and my apron. Just the full attire. I think I froze a little. Sorry. It's kind of hard to render the full model. Lots of moving parts. Oh, thank you. Maybe I can talk a little bit about my outfit since I don't have much else to show off. Um, let's see. Hold on. I kind of want to show off the physics a little bit. There's this little side step I do when I tilt far enough. Side step. Okay. Maybe that's too much for my poor laptop to handle. Um, let's just go back to this. Yeah. So I think this should be fine. Tilt, tilt. So this is a better look of me since I kind of had to crop things down a little bit when I moved there to that little corner. The boots look great. Thank you. Bun on the apron. Yeah. Wait, I'll zoom in on that. Mama Coney about to bust some moves. Gorgeous. Thank you so much. Wait, let me show off the apron for a bit. Here we go. It says mama. I'm so embarrassing. But yeah, it says mama. Um my goodness, my throat is so dry right now. Am I centered properly now? I'll move a little bit lower. So I first of all, I really do like braids. I've got 4 braids on right now. 2 kind of going over to the back. There's a ribbon on there too, but you can't see it. And the other 2 going down. Um, fashion top. These are off-shoulder butterfly sleeves. Very basic frills. Um, Hold on. A little bit of lag. Take all my water. Save it for yourself. I think at this hour you should probably be consuming a little more water. Because I notice when I'm up kind of late, I tend to wake up quite dehydrated. Let's see. I have water here. Don't worry. I'll drink some when I'm done with this segment. Uh, sort of a. And underneath is a half apron. Yeah, it's just a half apron. Um, I like the fabric of, I guess, like stocking fabric. I think it's very classy looking, so I kind of wear it as gloves. um, I don't have any reference of it right now, but the gloves only cover my arms and the back of my hand. The insides are just bare palm. It helps a lot with things when you can feel through the material properly. Um, but yeah, you're gonna see that on the art in the end of the stream. Uh, let's see. The apron, well loved apron, and then boots. They're very useful. Um, they're they're pretty heavy duty. It's nice to invest in a good pair of shoes, I think, especially when you're working on things like gardening, whatnot. I don't live a particularly active lifestyle, but it's nice to have something durable. Also in the kitchen, um, thick shoes. They're very useful in case you accidentally drop something heavy or sharp. You won't hurt yourself. You have less of a chance of hurting yourself. That's why people in the food industry usually tend to wear thick rubber clogs. Yeah. Do you like coconut juice or water? Yeah, coconut water is like really nice. Um, I think I personally enjoy it more in the summer though. Like it feels like the right season to drink it. Any other time kind of makes me think, I kind of wish it was a sunnier day while I'm drinking this. Hold on, let me take a sip. Like I get that feeling with several things where it feels off when you're drinking it in the wrong season or eating it in the wrong season. Like hot chocolate in summer. Coffee, I can have it anytime. I have gotten used to having coffee even on the most blazing hot days. And I'm not talking about iced coffee, I mean brewed coffee. It's just the right way to start your day sometimes, especially when you need that caffeine boost. But yeah, coconut juice or coconut water in the summer, just ice cold. It's great. That and like pineapple slices or any other fruit really. Let's see. Oh, but if my preference for coconut water is kind of a seasonal thing, but coconut milk on the other hand, that's super useful for a lot of things. You can make you could make a good curry, you could make like um you could make caldereta. My mother's recipe for caldereta, it has it has gata in it. Let's see. Is there anything else I should show off here? I think this is the most I can show off with my sprite. Well, my model, since I don't have any um I don't have any extra expressions. So all of the faces you're seeing here is pretty genuine, I suppose. As genuine as face tracking gets, at least. I can even frown. It doesn't really pick it up much, but I have to pout pretty hard for it to sense that I'm frowning. That's my face. If you tell me that you haven't been hydrating, if you haven't been eating, then mama's gonna be very sad. So please take care of yourself, okay? Let me do it again so you get the message. Okay. I think that's enough for now. Let me kind of prep for the next slide. Oh, yeah. I will hide my Life 2D sprite for a moment just to show off something of somewhat sentimental value, I suppose. Whoop. Disappeared. Now that's magic. Uh, see, that's that's the PNG. Well, not PNG. It's a GIF actually. But initially, I was thinking, oh, I could just go with like being a PNG tuber. That'd be perfectly fine with me. But somehow it stopped working the way that I would have wanted it to. So I really kind of bit the bullet and just went with Live 2D, which is nice. I more movement kind of suits me more. I think it's very lively, but here's the little blinky coni that I used in a test stream. Actually, I think it's a lot clearer here in the PNG sprite. Uh, I I don't know if it suits me, but I kind of went a little wild and dyed my hair pink in some places. I think it's cute. One of the colors I really like is kind of like shades of purple and blue, and I think something like magenta or hot pink really complements it well. As you can see in the kind of color scheme we have going on here. Also, I had these cute little oven mitts. I was actually supposed to have them with my Life 2D sprite too, but we never figured out how to toggle things. That's also why we don't have expressions. But yeah, um, going forward, my planned content for my channel. Wait, let me show up again here. Ah, corner. Is this good? So the content planned is, of course, the cookies. I think that's the kind of content that's gonna come most naturally for me since I'm cooking here every day anyway. I just gotta figure out how exactly I'm gonna film it to look nice, especially since, well, we do have a lot of natural lighting out here. The issue is the kitchen is kind of dark. The natural light is in all the wrong places. So we kind of have a nice, beautiful bay window over the sink and just shadows and darkness over the stove. A lot of lights don't work. It's an old house, but it's a very precious place to me. And then there's handicraft videos. Um, a couple years back, I decided to give knitting and crocheting a try. I'm not very good at it, but I feel like it'd be nice to record it regardless, because then I could kind of, um, keep track of my improvements first and foremost. Um, Second, I feel like that would be kind of encouraging for other people to see me struggle and fail a lot, I suppose. Um, not really the best way to word it, but I feel like I feel like it's nice sometimes to watch content that, while edited, isn't really perfect in a way. And lastly, I think it would be nice to post things I'm not particularly good at, because if anyone decides to help me out in the pinned comments, and in the comments I could pin it up, and other people who are struggling can read that and kind of learn too. We'll learn together. That would be fun. Um, I miss painting. I haven't had the time to paint because it's quite difficult to get the materials here for it. I also like sewing. I make stuffed toys, stuffed animals. I have a pattern book specifically for teddy bears, and I would love to. I'd love to make stuffed animals for here. I feel like it'd suit me quite a bit. Other didn't mention. Um, oh, I also did try working with needle felting and raisin sorry, last year. I could try getting back into that too. Um, Short blogs where I don't spit over there. I I will forever thank how accessible VTubing has become, because I love the thought of making content without having to show my face. Then story reading, I'd love to do that. Um, we could do streams for shorter things, but for longer things, I suppose it would be a good idea for me to pre-record so we can cut out any bloopers, blunders, any moments my throat gets really dry like this. But yeah, I can read things off my collection, off of the public domain stuff. Storytelling Mama. Yeah, I can read bedtime stories. That's gonna be fun. One thing I really want to try doing though is I'd love to look around for self published short stories and stuff that I can read out loud with permission, of course. That way, I'll have content for here, and whoever writes the story can have some fun little bit of derivative content in the form of someone else reading it out. Kind of like a an audiobook in a way. It would also be nice to help other people get their stories out there. Though small time VTuber, no experience. We'll work on that. Maybe we'll get the reach someday. Mama Coney audiobooks. Audiobooks that are probably just 10 minutes long. I'd love to start with just shorter things. Let's see. Information on other worlds. As I kind of got carried away earlier, I love talking about Seers and the other worlds that I've seen, because it's I guess that's where my heart lies. Um, I don't have the same resources as other seers, but at least now that I can start posting things, I can at least have the what's the right word? Well, I have my channel to share them in. Um, I don't know how to word it. I kind of naturally picked it up, but with the Seers, we actually have these three things that we abide by. I picked it up when I was young, so I can't remember exactly where I learned it, but I'm going to assume that this is true for all the Seers, at least the ones that I've met. We, our line of work, if I call it work, our responsibility rather, is with our gifts, we sort of maintain the sense of balance between the worlds. And not so much here, since um, it's pretty self balancing here in my. I'm the only one who really does any seer stuff, so I don't really have anyone to share or exchange things with. But yeah, other seers tend to take the direction other worlds are going in as reference and how they can improve how things are going in their world. Um, and the ones who are more powerful, they do have a lot more influence in getting in contact or um, sort of having some sense of communication with other worlds so they can coordinate. I can't coordinate. I can only see them. I can't speak back to them unless they decide to look for me directly, which doesn't really happen much, I think. So, me going off tangent. 3 rules, short and simple. First, we keep the order of the worlds. Second, we keep record of stories of the people residing within those worlds. In a way, we're kind of like historians too. It's especially evident for the seers who work in that big library. You keep record of people's lives. It it kind of seems intrusive in a way, I guess. But there are heroes out there who don't get their stories told, and there are people there who aren't even heroes, but they go through quite some interesting things that people can learn from. It's something that people can reference as sort of life advice. People don't really ask me for advice, though. Uh, so, Order of Worlds, records of those who reside in those worlds, and making sure that those stories live on, in a sense. I say stories like they aren't real people, but every story is very important. That's why I keep stories in such high regard. Anyway, I really need to work on that going off tangent. So, lastly, video games. When I get a better internet connection. Because right now, I personally don't know how much lag I am getting with this. But there are particular games that I am very interested in playing over stream. There's this one that recently came out that kind of clicked with me in both concept and style. It's called Storyteller, and it's a puzzle game. I was originally supposed to play the demo as a sort of icebreaker for the stream, but I realized that my poor 5-year-old laptop probably wouldn't be able to handle that sort of thing yet. I'll be building a PC soon, though, so maybe then I'll be able to stream that, maybe the full version of the game. There's also, oh, I've been wanting to finish the game for years. Final Fantasy VIII. I've known that game for the longest time, and it's always had a special place in my heart, but I've never come to finishing it. I think as far as I reached is probably end of disc 2 or start of disc 3. So that's another thing I would love to play on stream. I'm not entirely sure about playing visual novels since it's mostly reading things out loud, which wouldn't be that much of a problem, except a lot of the lines are already voiced out. So I don't see I don't see that being like good content for streaming in a way. Some people can pull it off. It's just that I'm not sure if I can keep the banter and the pace of reading out dialogue very well. Other games. I've been wanting to replay Kingdom Hearts, but I we'll see. We'll see. Um, Maybe I'll make a new Grand Blue Fantasy account, but it's very grindy, so I see that as more of a possible filler stream, if anything. So I think that let's not decide on what I can play yet, because I can't play anything yet. Let's be completely honest here. Like right now, the very reason why I had a lot of technical difficulties for not just an hour before the stream, but also like the entire day before, is because OBS kind of stopped functioning properly for me. There were a lot of server errors. So what's happening right now is I am actually um, I'm using the virtual camera. So I can't use the audio mixer the of the entire OBS interface properly. I actually had background music picked out that I really liked, but I couldn't use it for the stream. Oh well. Let's see. So, planned content, that's done. We'll save video games for another time. Maybe we can discuss that in another stream? Wait, one moment. I'm scared. House rules. This, I will have to actually flesh this out a little bit more and kind of stick it in the video comments as we go forward, I guess. Was that a cow? No, that wasn't a cow. There are fields and wild birds. Um, that was the door. That that was the door. Anyway, oh yeah, I forgot to mention in regards to games. I should have mentioned this much earlier, but I don't want to play horror games while I'm here. I do enjoy seeing them. I enjoy seeing other people play horror games, and I would like to try something like Phasmophobia, but probably not here for reasons. um, yeah, the door. So back to house rules that I will be fleshing out going forward. First of all, be polite to everyone else. That should be rules even outside of the house, I suppose. No hate speech of any kind. Don't be mean to anyone, especially in a way that makes it clear that you're a bad person. But to begin with, if you're a bad person, you shouldn't be watching my streams. Uh, please avoid going off topic. That is something I'm gonna have to rewrite a little because I go off topic. No matter. Oh yeah, this is important. This is kind of a staple of most people's rules. No mentioning of other content creators unless previously mentioned, and no mentioning of me to other content creators unless previously mentioned. I don't want anyone going to some better known VTubers and saying something like, oh, Coney mentioned you. Like, no, they don't know who Coney is. Shush. Please be quiet, child. Mama doesn't want any trouble. But yeah, that kind of goes with avoiding going off topic, I think. Um, though I feel like I might mention other content creators fairly often. I I do follow some VTubers myself, after all. Uh, Actually, earlier today, or technically yesterday, since it's past one, was the 3D debut for Astaletta from Hollow Stars, and it just makes me so happy. It's a very, very outer spacey kind of day, you know? In GBF, I even wrapped up Marionette Stars. I will stop myself now because if I start talking about GBF, I will not stop. Anyway, no backseat gaming. Mama is not very good at games, but if I need help, I will ask. It's never really a good idea to give anyone unsolicited advice of any kind, after all. Um, and lastly, don't hesitate to ask any questions. There is no need to be shy in chat, and I'm glad you guys have been very active in commenting. It's nice, it keeps things lively. It's like having guests over. Yeah, we'll refine that a little further on. I'm not sure if I'll be able to stream again anytime soon after this, since it's a very, very busy season. So, yeah. Current goals. I think that's a good thing to put in a debut stream. My current goals, first of all, we're, we're slowly making progress on that. I have friends who are already doing streaming, friends who plan on doing streaming, and I haven't quite made any new friends yet, but I have a few mutuals on Twitter at least, and that should be fine for now. I'll probably start interacting with people more as I go along. I want to talk about other worlds. I've already gotten started, so might as well just continue. Record my personal recipes, that's another thing. I One of the main reasons why I wanted to start this channel, besides talking about the other worlds, is because I wanted to motivate myself to actually write down my recipes. I am quite prone to losing them in a way. It's kind of like with quails. They lay their eggs literally wherever and kind of forget about them unless they're all put in one place. That's what I'm gonna do with my recipes. I'm gonna put them all in one place. I want to become kinder. That's that's kind of more of a life goal than a streaming goal, but I feel like in getting the chance to interact with more people, hopefully, I will be able to develop as a person, I suppose. I mean, isn't that natural? Gotta form good bonds with people and gotta learn from them. And that's what's gonna help you grow as a person. Mama Coney, be kinder to yourself as well. Yes, I'm working on that. Kind of rough, but I'm working on that, and I hope that. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic. I hope that, besides learning how to do it myself, I hope anyone else who's struggling with that can also learn to be kind. Let's be kind to ourselves and to each other, and kind of form a nice, cozy little family system. Oh my goodness, I just realized something quite strange. I'll go with it after I finish the current goals. But I think I skipped over something very important. I'll make a slide for it. You guys get to get a little bit of typing ASMR. Anyway, I'd also like to upgrade my model and equipment. I'd like some small animations and expressions and stuff, I suppose. And slightly better rig. This is very basic, and I love it, but there's room to improve, I suppose. I'd like to stream regularly, though that would also depend on the equipment. And I would definitely love to collab with other content creators. There's some of you there who are watching right now who I have spoken to like countless times in the past, saying, "Oh, when once I debut, let's collaborate sometime." So here's my debut. It's probably time for us to get started without planning, I suppose. No rush, though, of course. Um, so let's make that new slide. Whoop. Sorry about that. Things Coney forgot. Right, so things I forgot, which are actually essential things that I don't understand how I kind of like skimmed over in my thoughts, but my follower are called, wait, there's a proper way to word that. I'm sorry. I'm usually asleep at this point, so my mind isn't really quite as sharp as it ought to be. Fan name. So basically, if you're following me, if you're a fan of me, if you're watching right now and decide to look at my future content, then please feel free to call yourself a constellation, like a rapid constellation. Um, the constellation I have on my logo is um, it's Lepus. Um, it's it's a rabbit. Um, that's the main point. It's a rabbit, and quite interestingly, unlike most other constellations, it doesn't have much of a story to it, which in a way is kind of sad, but also it means there's like a lot of room for it to kind of pave its way to make its own story. I think that's the same for all of us, you know? Everyone starts off as a blank page, you just gotta fill it up with your story. Isn't that neat? Let's see. I don't know if I'm I I don't know if I'll ever be monetizing this. I don't know if I'm ever going to get enough of a reach to be able to open memberships or anything. But as early as now, I think it would really be cute if if we called, well, this isn't really a member name, but like the div of members for the channel. That would be the Starry Martin. And then I'm not sure how exactly I'm supposed to go about typing emojis on a computer. But to be fair, um, I actually don't have finalized emojis. The thing is, I notice most VTubers usually just go with one or two, but for me, I just having them as an accent to match not only me but also the fans. So uh, it's still kind of a work in progress, I suppose. Uh, wait, there's not much space. There's free. So there's a shooting star. Or I guess some other resources would call it a comet. A shooting star or a comet emoji would represent. Hmm. Oh, the I almost forgot to mention. Maybe we can explain the the fallen star thing in the future, not now. Let's see. Hmm. Okay, sorry. So, shooting star, and then we have knee face and night sky. Please forgive me. I'm so sleepy that I don't know if I'm spelling things properly or not. So if there are any typos, I apologize. Okay, so fan name, members, emojis, hashtags. Very important. Um, for our general hashtag is just me, just my channel, Mama Coniglia. And then the stream we have. Sorry, for the stream we have Conilia's home. Kind of like, if if you're some eager kid waiting for their parent at work, and then like you see them approaching, it's like, oh yeah, mom's home, mom's home. Yeah, this time it's Cornelia's home. uh, and then for art, we have. Sorry about that. For art, we have. It's a little long. I know I could have shortened it a little, but I find it cute if we make it an art gallery, Cornelia Art Gallery. Yeah. Um, Originally I was thinking of making it something that would reference pinning the art on a refrigerator. I thought that would be really cute, but at the same time, I'm not sure how I could incorporate my name into that. So, Cornelia Art Gallery it is. um, I'm not sure what else I'm missing. Let's see. We have. Well, I don't know if anyone would make memes of me. I, I'm far too boring to have memes. We'll see. Hmm. Yeah, not to be announced. Yes, to be announced, not to be honest. Um, I'm not sure what else. Oh, okay, this one. Um, I don't know if anyone's ever gonna be using this, but in case anyone does need to use this, also in case anyone needs to block this, we have this So embarrassing. Yeah. Um, as long as it doesn't go on the chat or on the main tags, please feel free to slap that onto anything. I won't judge you. I don't see the point in that sort of thing yet, I guess. But, you know, might as well put something out there. Anyone comes up with something else more outrageous for it. Uh, anyway, that should be fine. That wraps it up. That's yeah. That should let's not, especially the last one. Um, yeah. If there's any other hashtag we need to make, then I will post that up somewhere. And now it's time to read marshmallows. There was a way that I could um, sort of take screenshots of the messages I got here and share them on. I could probably take snapshots of them, but I just know that's gonna make my laptop lag, and it's been through enough for today. So I'm just gonna take center stage over here and read whatever marshmallows I have collected, which thankfully isn't much, considering we've almost been here for 2 hours. Oh, there's another one. My goodness. If anyone else wants to catch up on it, um, my marshmallow, um, my marshmallow URL should be up on my Twitter. Um, actually, I don't think I pinned it. So embarrassing. I am unprepared, but it's there. It's under the 7 post. And Marshmallow's taking its time to load, which is fine. No rush, no rush. I say no rush, but I'm really sleepy here, so please take your time, but consider. Anyway, I have 5 marshmallows here. I I will only read the 5. If you guys decide to add any more, please feel free to. I'll answer them at another time. Probably post them on Twitter. But I'll start with the oldest. So first is the question. What's your daily morning routine? Well, considering I tend to sleep quite early here, but I suppose that's going to be ruined once I get the hang of streaming. Um, AM first, just so I can shut it off and switch to the electric fan. That I properly wake up at around mm, between 6:30 and 7. My alarm's set for 7:30, but I somehow physically got accustomed to waking up before my alarm. Probably because my alarm doesn't sound very nice. So I wake up at, let's say, 6 o'clock. First thing I do is I get up, I do a stretch, just in case my limbs are kind of sore from sleeping in a weird position, since I roll around in my sleep quite a bit. I head straight to the bathroom, do my business. I immediately brush my teeth and floss, mouthwash, wash my face. Um, I have a mini skincare routine. It's not that many steps. But after I wash my face, I use a gentle toner. I put on a bit of moisturizer, usually in the form of sunflower oil. And then I put on some sunblock. Ideally, if I don't have too much to do within the day, I dedicate like the next hour or so for stretches, yoga, light exercise, stuff that doesn't involve me having to go out. And I'd have breakfast by around 8, 8:30, 9 if there's a lot to do in the morning. Yeah, sunflower oil. Um, it's nice. It's natural and it's good for your skin. And I think there's even sunflower oil for your hair. I kind of like the idea of using. Um, One thing I also want to do at some point is kind of make my own soap and candles and stuff. It just seems very, very interesting. But yeah, I suppose my daily morning routine would end at breakfast, since after that it's just kind of a bit of baking, gardening, just whatever other errands I need to do for the day. Next question is opinion on aliens. I mentioned Astel earlier. I think that should be enough proof that I think, unless they're the kinds in Hollywood movies that burst out of people's chests or cause a lot of harm to others. But it's nice. I haven't observed any worlds that have aliens, I suppose. Well, not in like the Hollywood sense of aliens, but it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's just getting to learn other cultures, other people, whatever they would prefer to be referred as. Favorite tea. I mentioned earlier. Uh, Favorite drinks. I like royal milk tea and chamomile tea. Um, I also like uh, coffee milk or milk coffee. Basically, it's cold brew, but instead of cold brewing in water, you cold brew directly into milk, and you don't leave it for quite as long, just a few hours. I think 3 to 5 at most. The flavor is a lot. You get the strong coffee flavor, but you get the mildness and creaminess of the milk, and I really like that. It's also very refreshing. Oh, though, if your stomach's acting up, I recommend against coffee milk or coffee or milk of any kind. Please be kind to your stomach. Drink more neutral, less acidic things until it calms down. The fourth question is how much sugar is enough sugar? And my answer to that is surely that would depend. If it's a recipe for something baked, then I recommend sticking to the measurements as written with minimal deviation, because there's science in that, and changing the ratio of sugar to everything else might ruin the consistency of the final item. Kind of, mm, I, I suppose, think of sugar as being there for the reaction as much as the taste. For other things, though, like for drinks and just general sweetening other things up, without having to rely on whatever scientific properties sugar has in relation to other ingredients, then as much sugar as you like. Um, I like um, I like muscovado sugar and raw sugar in coffee and tea that I drink, and especially with muscovado, I quite like how molassesy the flavor is. So I tend to put a lot of that, like a lot of that. Um, it's not a saturating kind of sweet. The sweetness of it isn't quite as strong as the molassesy flavor, kind of in a similar sense to how rock salt isn't quite as salty as iodized salt. So yeah, just it depends. It depends with the sugar. And the last is a very sweet message. Thank you so much to whoever sent it. I wish you all the best, Mommy Coney, in all your future endeavors. Are there any precious memories you associate with the color yellow? Yellow is a very nice color. I I mostly work with blues, purples, magentas, and such, as you see on my icon. Uh, but yellow is such a nice, warm color. It's like it's like the afternoon sun in summers back when I was growing up. It's it's definitely a sunlight kind of color, you know. Um, just lazy days, chilling with my friends, um, who I miss very dearly. Yellow is a very lovely color. Every color is quite lovely. Every color, everything has its meaning behind it and its reason to be. Yellow is very comfortable. Also, there's a character I really like who's kind of associated with the color yellow, but that's not a memory anymore, you know? Unless unlocking him counts, but that's very shallow. Hmm, yellow. That that's gonna need a bit of. Hold on a moment. Precious memories in the color yellow. It's really the warmth of the sunlight. The place where I used to live, my family still goes there from time to time, but back in Gaia, the place where we stay in the city, um, it's in an area that gets a lot of afternoon sun, and I hated it so much when I was there because it would always be so glaring and so hot, just so agonizing to be there. But at the same time, I do miss the times when I would kind of. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional here, but I, I get the chance to switch on the air conditioning because my friends were coming over. Definitely got in the way of it matter because I get to be there with my friends. And the, that very warm yellow energy was definitely much more comfortable than that of that blaring sunlight. But the sunlight was there with us too, I suppose. Whew. Didn't think I'd get emotional over a question. Thank you. Thank you, Art. Thank you for the question. Thank you for your kind words. And whew, I'm gonna need a moment. Let me just help myself to another sip of water. Whew. Kind of dwelled on that for a while, and the window with my presentation kind of it's loading again. Cool. That's not really the most flattering screen, is it? Take up my water again before I pass out. Please, please don't pass out. Hold on, I might need to adjust this again. Mm, just a moment. Whoop. I think that is enough time to kind of pull myself together. Not enough time for it to load properly though. Hope you get lots of rest after this. Yeah, I intend to sleep in tomorrow. I've actually been pretty fatigued for the past couple of days. Actually, I think my laptop's getting pretty tired as well with not loading this properly. I think we don't have much left though. I think we're almost at the last slide here. It started again. Oh no. It's fine, we got this. We got this. Alright, so uh hold on. Some technical difficulties again. Hmm. You know, I'm really glad I didn't decide to play a game like this because it's been 2 hours. Thank you for sticking with me for 2 hours. We are reaching the end of the stream, I think. Yeah, we have reached the end of the stream. We end this with some well wishes. Usually I would write this kind of thing beforehand, but I only put bullet points here as a reference to things that I would want to say. Partly because it would be nice to come up with something based off how the experience went, and also because I was rushing to finish this and thus ended up starting the stream another good 10 to 15 minutes later than the first delay. So for tonight's well wishes, I pray to the stars above that we all get along well. I really want to thank everyone for dropping by for the stream. I've been worried about this for quite some time. I was worried that this wouldn't really push through successfully. I kind of panicked earlier, thinking that I would have to delay it by a few days after such an ambitious countdown just a week before. But I'm glad that I got to finally do this with you guys. I really wanted to push for streaming on the 7th because it marks kind of an anniversary to my first attempt to stream, which was this very haphazard thing over Discord. I didn't, and up till now, don't have a capture card, but I wanted to show people my island and Animal Crossing. So I had this weird webcam set up over at the dining table at our old place. It was very rough. There was glare everywhere. But, you know, here I am now with my live 2D model, wishing you all a good evening. But yeah, I hope we continue to get along and that I can sort of come up with content that everyone can enjoy. I hope that I can strive to become a better person and a better streamer, of course. And hopefully, in all of your endeavors, you guys can also improve yourselves. It's always kind of rough at the start and in the middle. Maybe at the end too. The whole process can be quite tedious and quite tiring, but if you keep going, no matter how tough it is, how long it takes, then eventually you'll get somewhere where you can look back and think, I managed to do all of that to get where I am today. And I think that's nice, being able to improve yourself, even just a little bit, even just a small step every day or every few days. Don't rush yourself. There are lovely tomorrows ahead for everyone, and maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's another tomorrow, but hopefully there's at least a little bit of loveliness in every passing day for each one of you. I know it can be very rough, and not every day can be appreciated. Looking forward can be tough. Looking back can be bittersweet, but even if it's something as simple as eating something you like, or having a nice cup of coffee, or just seeing a picture that interests you, I hope that all of your tomorrows are filled with lovely things. And so, as I have constantly practiced saying to myself many times, good night, everyone, and may the stars shine above you always. We'll end this stream with the full image of the first preview that I posted for this stream, as well as, well, it's a thumbnail for this debut stream supposedly. Here, let me show it to you guys right now. There we go. I commissioned it maybe over a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, from Yariyume on Twitter, and they did such a wonderful job. I'm so thankful that they accepted the request to have this commission, because this sort of thing isn't usually their style. But I'm so happy with how it turned out. Here's to hoping I can commission more artists. I already have like something planned. I'm in the talks with someone. You know who you are. But yeah, commission artists and showcase their work at the end of the video, sort of as an end card. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Good night and sweet dreams, everyone. I'll be retweeting the finished piece once Yariyume posts it up. So, good night.